Volodymyr Alexandrovich Zelensky was born on the 25th of January 1978 in the industrial city of Kryvyi Rih, then part of the Soviet Union. The air of that steel town was heavy with the noise of machinery and the grey discipline of the late Soviet era. His father, Alexander Zelensky, was a professor of computer science at the Kryvyi Rih State University of Economics and Technology. His mother, Rima, worked as an engineer. The family's Jewish heritage was quietly present in a society where open discussion of faith or ethnicity often carried risk. His childhood unfolded during a time when the Soviet system was cracking but had not yet fallen, and his first lessons were in adaptability, humor, and survival inside rigid order. As a boy, Zelensky was bright, quick with jokes, restless with curiosity. Teachers described him as clever but mischievous, the kind of student who could make a classroom erupt with laughter and then return to perfect seriousness. When he was 11, the Soviet Union dissolved. Overnight, his world changed names, currencies, and flags. Ukraine emerged independent, yet uncertain of its identity. Zelensky grew up inside that uncertainty, watching adults struggle to redefine patriotism and truth. He would later turn those observations into art. After finishing school, he entered the Kryvyi Rih branch of Kyiv National Economic University, studying law. He learned the structure of constitutions and contracts, but he was more fascinated by performance and persuasion than by paperwork. During his student years, he joined a comedy competition team known as KVN, Club of the Funny and Inventive. KVN was a phenomenon across the post-Soviet world. Live humor battles, mixing satire, politics, and improvisation. Zelensky quickly became its leading performer, writing sketches that mocked bureaucracy and national absurdities with warmth rather than cruelty. By his early 20s, he was touring Russia and Ukraine, his charisma already magnetic. In the mid-1990s, he and several friends founded a troupe they called Kvartal 95, named after their home district in Kryvyi Rih. What began as a group of young comedians became a media enterprise. Kvartal 95 expanded into television, film, and corporate entertainment. Zelensky was not only the frontman, but the business mind, writing scripts, negotiating contracts, producing shows. His humor carried political undertones. He could ridicule power without overtly challenging it. A delicate balance in a region where censorship was still habitual. By his late 20s, Zelensky was one of the most recognizable entertainers in Ukraine. He starred in romantic comedies, hosted television galas, and voiced animated films. He married his longtime partner, Olena Kyashko, in 2003. She was also a writer and creative collaborator in Kvartal 95. The couple built both a family and an artistic brand, blending humor with social commentary. They had 2 children, Alexandra and Kirilo. The 2000s were a turbulent decade for Ukraine. Revolutions, economic shocks, and the constant tug-of-war between Western integration and Russian influence. Through it all, Zelensky's shows became a national pressure valve, comedy as survival. But the line between satire and prophecy blurred in 2015 when Kvartal 95 released a new television series called Servant of the People. Zelensky played Vasyl Holoborodko, a modest history teacher who becomes president after a student records his rant against corruption and uploads it online. The series exploded in popularity because it said what citizens felt, but politicians refused to admit. The country was tired of thieves in suits. Servant of the People was fiction, yet Ukrainians began treating its hero as real. Zelensky's portrayal was genuine, a man accidentally thrown into power, speaking plain truth. That authenticity created a movement he did not initially plan. By 2018, the boundary between character and actor dissolved. Zelensky announced his candidacy for president on New Year's Eve 2018, using social media and short videos instead of rallies and slogans. His campaign promised renewal, transparency, and an end to oligarchic domination. The established political elite laughed. Then they panicked. In April 2019, he won a landslide, securing over 70% of the vote. A comedian had become the sixth president of Ukraine. The early days of his presidency carried enormous hope. Crowds chanted for change, expecting him to dismantle corruption networks that had survived every revolution. Zelensky surrounded himself with youthful advisors from media and business rather than seasoned politicians. He sought to end the war in the Donbass through negotiation while strengthening Ukraine's economy and rule of law. For a time, it worked. Foreign investors showed interest. Western governments praised his energy, and Ukrainians admired his informal style. Yet politics proved far darker than television. The old power blocks resisted reform. Oligarchs tested his resolve, and Russia watched carefully, probing every weakness. Zelensky's party, also named Servant of the People, gained a parliamentary majority, but soon fractured under pressure. Critics accused him of inexperience, of appointing friends to critical posts, of yielding too much to competing interests. The humor that had once united the nation now seemed distant. Then came 2022. On February 24th, Russia launched a full-scale invasion of Ukraine. Missiles struck Kyiv, Kharkiv, Mariupol, and dozens of other cities. Intelligence services had warned Zelensky of an attack, and many expected him to flee. He refused. "I need ammunition, not a ride," he reportedly told Western officials who offered evacuation. That sentence became symbolic, the moment a comedian turned into a wartime leader. Kyiv's nights were lit by explosions. Zelensky filmed himself on the streets with his ministers to prove he remained in the capital. Those short smartphone videos, raw, unedited, defiant, transformed global perception. Western media cast him as the embodiment of courage. Millions saw a small democracy defying a nuclear power. His ability to communicate directly with people, honed in television, became his greatest weapon. As months passed, Zelensky addressed parliaments around the world, from Washington to Tokyo, invoking history and moral duty. He compared Ukraine's resistance to Britain's stand in 1940, to the struggle against tyranny everywhere. His speeches drew standing ovations and unprecedented financial and military aid. Drones, artillery, and billions of dollars flowed into Ukraine. He became a global icon, Time magazine's Person of the Year, the man in green fatigues whose face symbolized freedom under siege. But behind the legend were the exhausting realities of war. Cities lay in ruins, millions fled abroad, and corruption, the old cancer, re-emerged even amid battle. In 2023, a procurement scandal erupted involving inflated defense contracts. Zelensky dismissed officials and promised accountability, but skeptics saw continuity rather than change. The longer the war lasted, the more fragile domestic unity became. Internationally, Zelensky navigated an impossible triangle, appealing for Western weapons while insisting on Ukraine's sovereignty, rejecting negotiations that might legitimize Russian occupation, and managing fatigue among allies. He mastered digital diplomacy, appearing at film festivals, summits, and even the Grammy Awards by video link. Critics accused him of over-dramatizing conflict, turning war into performance. Supporters countered that without such performance, Ukraine would have been forgotten. By 2024, the strain showed. Ukraine faced a slow, grinding war of attrition. Mobilization expanded. Censorship tightened. Opposition parties accused the government of silencing dissent in the name of unity. Zelensky's approval ratings, once astronomical, began to slip. Still, he remained unmatched as a communicator. His nightly addresses mixed military updates with emotional storytelling, keeping morale alive through words when resources were scarce. In early 2025, a wave of protests shook Kyiv after new legislation altered the structure of anti-corruption agencies. Demonstrators feared the reforms would weaken oversight, just as Western donors demanded transparency. Zelensky defended the law as modernization. Opponents saw consolidation of power. The debate reflected a deeper question: could democracy survive permanent war? Through all of it, Zelensky's personal life remained largely shielded. Olena Zelenska became an international advocate for humanitarian aid, addressing congresses and conferences. The couple's marriage endured the weight of history. Their brief televised reunions, hugs under sirens, humanized the presidency. Yet even allies whispered about exhaustion and isolation. Outside Ukraine, Zelensky's image polarized global audiences. To many, in Europe and America, he was a modern Churchill, articulate, unyielding, morally clear. To critics in the global South and Russia's allies, he was a Western proxy prolonging conflict. His every appearance was scrutinized. The olive green t-shirt, the unshaven look, the tears at memorials, the humor in darkness. Each gesture carried strategic meaning. The man who once joked for applause now spoke for survival. Yet the comedian never completely vanished. Flashes of wit still surfaced in speeches and interviews. That humor reminded people that resistance was not only military but psychological. The refusal to let fear dictate tone. As 2025 unfolds, Zelensky stands at a crossroads. The war continues with no decisive end in sight, and Ukraine faces reconstruction needs measured in the hundreds of billions. Domestically, his administration juggles battlefield leadership, political fatigue, and corruption trials. Internationally, shifting alliances test his diplomatic skill. He remains, undeniably, the central figure in Ukraine's modern story. Part symbol, part survivor, part statesman. His journey defies conventional categories. Born in a collapsing empire, raised in transition, shaped by comedy, elevated by democracy, tempered by war. In his life, Ukraine's paradox is mirrored. A nation seeking European modernity while fighting ancient territorial aggression. A people yearning for peace, but bound to sacrifice. Whether history will remember him as hero or opportunist will depend not only on the outcome of the war, but on what follows it. How Ukraine rebuilds institutions, heals divisions, and redefines freedom beyond survival. For now, Zelensky remains the face of a country that refuses to die. His transformation from entertainer to commander is one of the most extraordinary metamorphoses of the 21st century. It proves how charisma can become courage, how narrative can become national armor. Yet it also warns how power, even when born from idealism, can harden under pressure. The same performance instinct that once united millions could, if unchecked, breed the illusion that applause equals consent. In the end, Volodymyr Zelensky is both product and author of his era, a generation's hope and its burden condensed into one human life. From a classroom prankster to wartime president, his story captures the tension of our age. Media and reality colliding, sincerity and strategy intertwined. He began by pretending to lead a nation and ended by doing it for real. And somewhere inside the chaos of politics and gunfire, the boy from Kryvyi Rih still stands, Microphone in one hand, nation in the other. Improvising on the world's most dangerous stage, where every line can change history.